Hello, everybody, and welcome to my demonstration of my game. So my game that I created is let me back up. So growing up, I loved playing sports video games. That was like my thing as a kid. I played them endlessly and tirelessly. Um, and the thing that always frustrated me about those video games was that the throwing mechanics just never really like satisfied me. They were always just click a button to throw directly to a receiver. So I set out to create a game that may have like a really fun throwing mechanic and was really challenging and kind of symbolized what it's really like, symbolized, kind of replicated what it's like to throw in real life. So here's my game. I set, if you can't tell, I love BYU, if you know the stadium, but so you're setting a stadium here. There's a floating target. When you click and hold, the ball will build up power for you to throw. Whereas if you just tap it, it will just do a very small throw. So as far as the throwing mechanics go, a small click will always generate at least like a 5 yard throw, you could say. But then as you click and hold longer, the ball will start to actually have more velocity. Um, and then it's up to you to kind of add touch or some finesse to your throws. And then the goal is to throw and hit the target, obviously. So um, once you beat a level, it will automatically progress you to the next level in the game. You can see in the top right, it will keep track of how many throws it's taken you to get through each level. And then obviously the level will sometimes run its course to where the target's too far. So you can press the space bar to reset it real quickly. Um, so then as you progress through the game, the levels will get more challenging. As you can see, this level has a slant with these red boxes, obviously are symbolizing like defenders. I kept it very arcade style just because that's what I thought was the most fun rather than me trying to get too deep into like graphics and things. I'd rather just make a fun game that's more arcade style. And so eventually you'll start to have defenders come and get in your way and distract you so that it makes it more difficult um, to see the route that your player is running. Obviously, your player is the blue circles. I guess I should start with that. And so, and more timing is needed as the game progresses. The kind of AI element is that these defenders will actually do different things. Oh, wow. Depending on, there we go, finally. Depending on um, random generated number sequences. So no matter how many times you play it, um, you'll have to keep um, reacting differently, just like you would in a real kind of football game to what a defender is doing. So a few things that I learned about Unity um, throughout this process of creating this game. One was it was pretty cool. We learned about it briefly in like the shooter that we made, but with ray casting. The hardest part of this game was definitely building like the throwing mechanics and the flight of the ball to somewhat symbolize a real throw, because you want to add a little bit of loft to it. So you can see that the ball, I kept real physics on it. So the ball follows a pretty realistic flight path to what an actual throw would be. And then I wanted to add in an element of finesse or like skill to it. And that's where the amount of time that you hold with the velocity comes into play. And then the the other element that was a little bit tricky at first was just the defenders and the movement of it all, to synchronize it and to randomly generate different sequences. But that wasn't too tricky once I got the hang of it. A few problems that I came across while creating the game that I had to overcome. So the first thing was, like I said, the balls, when you would throw them, at first, it just was really difficult for me to get the ball to go at a certain power depending on the click. And so I had to learn a lot about time, delta time, and the frames per second, and how that all factors in until eventually it just became a timing thing where it's just timing the amount of time between mouse up and mouse down, and then multiplying that by some physics math that I imported so that the ball will fly along a certain path. And then as far as like the challenge and the repetitiveness of the game, I just wanted a game that like I could send to my friends or my brother that I grew up with playing these sports video games and say like, oh, I beat the game in this many throws in this many seconds. So I'm not sure if you noticed, I kind of skipped over it, but when you beat the game or when you finish the last level as it currently sits, it will pop up um, with like a total score so that you could screenshot it and send it to your friends, which was kind of my ultimate goal in this was just to make a fun game with mechanics of throwing and then make it like really addicting and fun to, kind of competitive. The only thing that I wish I would have done differently is maybe built a lot more levels to start. It took me so long to get the mechanics and everything how I liked it that the heavy lifting and kind of repetitive code of building different levels and different AI is what I couldn't finish as much as I'd like to. But I think the game's at a really fun point and happy to or excited to share it with you all and excited to share it with my friends. And I'll probably post it on itch.io, which I found, which I've seen a lot of your games and they're really cool. You guys should put them on there too. So yeah, thanks for watching.